What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brutal Planet Comics. I'm your host, Dre the Brute Danes. Welcome to an episode of the Indie Corner, where I sit down with everybody from the NPS community, writers, artists, directors, producers. Doesn't matter if you're in the game. I want to talk to you. So today we have ourselves a really good guest. He is the creator of Thefuriousones. Give it up, everybody, for Kenneth Spencer.
What's going on, Dre? How are you doing today?
Oh, the pleasure's all mine, my friend. I am doing well. How are you doing, my friend?
I am looking forward to a nice 4-day weekend, 4th of July.
Ooh.
After we're done with this interview, I am checked out until the 5th.
That's a wise man. A very wise man. Because I myself am going to steal me a day or two on the back end.
Well needed.
Yeah, make no mistake. But thank you so much for coming on my show. I'm about to share. I can't wait to jump into all your excellent work that I've checked out and to see all the other good things you got cooking up today.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here, and I can't wait to kind of give a little glimpse into the madness that is into my mind.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere. So, Kenneth, before we get to all that excellent work that you're doing, let's just get to know you a little bit. Who are you? Where'd you come from? How did we get here?
Well, originally a Southern California boy. So about 5 years ago, family transplanted from Southern California to South Georgia.
Oh, wow. That's the other side of the planet, pretty much. Wow.
It is. I went from a little tract home with a 5,000 square foot lot to 10 acres and barns and all kinds of crap.
That's cool, man. Nice.
Which I don't do any farming or mess with animals, so It's all my wife's.
Okay. Is your wife a Southern gal?
No, she's actually Mexican.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a new scenery for everybody.
It is. I had some family out here, so we'd come back to visit a couple times.
Okay.
And she really liked it, and I've always enjoyed it here. So it kind of it's just different. It's a different speed. People are different. Life is slower.
Yes, it is. So me, I live in Washington D.C. and I have family that's in the South, in the Carolinas and stuff, and I go and visit. And cause a lot of my family is from the Carolinas as well, so I go down there like, oh yeah, it's nice to visit, yay. Okay, when am I getting out of here? I gotta get back to the hustle and the bustle. Yeah,
I always tell people when you're in your 20s, the city is freaking awesome. Because we grew up. I was 15 minutes outside of downtown LA.
Oh wow.
So I grew up in LA, and up until you're in your 20s, there's always something to do. There's a concert. There's a club to go to.
Yeah,
whatever you want to do is at your fingertips.
That's
when
true.
You get older and you have kids.
Yeah.
Time to slow down.
Ain't that the truth? Me and my wife, we've been thinking about not moving to Georgia or whatever, but maybe but somewhere where we can actually have some space, because we've been living in the city for decades and decades. So it's might be time to make a move. But yeah, but that's cool, man. So
but it's fun.
Yeah, but let me ask, if you don't mind me asking, why make the trip over on the East Coast?
I guess really it was just with having kids that were still in schools. The schools in California had gotten really bad. Oh, okay. And I was paying for my kids to go to private school.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, why am I doing this? This is dumb.
Gotcha.
So finally I wised up and said, I can buy twice the house for a third of the price, and the school district is 100 times better than where we were.
Oh, sweet.
So it really went down to kids. It really did.
Okay, I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. We always bite the bullets for our young ones. So that's cool. So,
I'm still city boy at heart, though.
Oh yeah, of course. You can't take it out the soul now. You can't do that. But yeah, so tell me a little bit about before you got into creating comics and all the other great stuff. So did you start off as a fan? Did you how did we transition into the creative aspect?
So I've written songs for about 15 or 20 years now. I was a front man in a band in Hollywood for a while.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So the writing has always been there, but I've had this passion in my heart to write this 3-book novel, which is how this entire project started off, as a 3-book novel. My love for comics, though, kind of morphed my 3-book novel into more of a graphic art novella.
Ooh, nice.
So because it's not a traditional graphic novel, and it's not a traditional novel either. what captivates me is the illustrating and the way that artists are able to depict a story just off of the imagery, and you can translate that however you want. Writers do the same thing with words.
Indeed.
But it's totally different when you see it in image. And so I really wanted to bring that part of the comic industry into my writing.
I like that. Like a hybrid kind.
It is.
Yeah, like a hybrid. So what so when you were in the band, did you write any of the songs? Did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did lyrics and stuff like that. At the time, I played a little guitar back then.
Okay.
I kind of taught myself to play guitar and able to kind of help in the writing process. We had some amazing guitar players that pretty much just wrote the music, and we were able to kind of lay lyrics on top.
Okay, that's cool. And I see
it's still my passion.
Yeah. Oh no, I get it. 'Cause I see a guitar in the back. I can't tell what brand it is. It looks like an Ibanez. But
it is.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
I used to play back in the day. So
okay.
So I'm like, it looks like one. I used to play an Ibanez G10 years ago. But yeah, man, that's really cool. So you took the writing aspect from your music and then kind of translated it into creative writing.
100%.
That's pretty dope. Pretty dope. And I wish I had that type of musical writing skill. Like I wrote lyrics in the past. I mean, like I come from a musical family. A lot of my family is jazz singers and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
So I come from a musical family. I used to sing a little background. I used to do a little rock opera here and there, but I was never able to really take my musical talent. Well, I wouldn't call it talent. I wasn't that great, honestly. My musical heritage and move it into my writing style. I mean, I guess technically I did because I wrote a comic book musical, technically, but it's just not the same ilk, as it were. But that's cool that you're able to find the balance and blend the two worlds together. I like that. That's
the
dope.
thing I love about music is that two different people can hear the same song and interpret it totally differently.
Exactly.
And so I've tried to capture some of that in the story itself, where when you're going through the journey of how the main character ends up where he ends up, is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? It's kind of going to be up to the reader. The reader is going to determine off of how they've read it, whether or not he's a good guy or a bad guy. And B, what part of how he got there created that person that you've chosen as a good guy or a bad guy. And so that influence of music and being able to have two different people hear two different things from the same story or same song was something I tried to capture.
So kind of like leaving it ambiguous for the reader to decide, more or less.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. I can get that. I like that, and I like I always like stories that's not telling me exactly what to think and feel. I like that.
And I don't. And I raised my kids to be exactly like that. You make your own decision based off of what you bring into your mind. Don't take it from somebody else to tell you how to interpret it.
Yeah.
And so that's how you should read to me. Like you should want to read something in order to determine for yourself, what the heck was this dude trying to say, or is he just crazy?
Exactly. And I believe those type of principles that well bravo to you instilling that into your children for sure. Because I believe those type of principles are what can help you govern yourself, and be able to make sound choices and decisions, and to see it to be used in that way. I think that's brilliant. I've honestly never heard anybody actually put it that way before, but yeah, that's absolutely right. And I think that's cool because the idea of morality, being, determined on not just an experience, but an experience that has now been engulfed and then absorbed within someone in order to make decisions.
Right.
I like that, Kenneth. You got me. I'm sold. I like it.
Let's see if I was able to actually do it by the time this entire project is over, if I've accomplished what I tried to accomplish.
I hear that loud and clear. So let's jump into a little bit of your work here, Kenneth. Let's talk about the Furious Ones. Now, I was looking at the cover. It said book 1 of 4. Now, I love sequels. I love that whole bit. But if you can give us a little taste on what we're getting into with this story.
All right. So, like I said earlier, I sat down with the intention of writing 3 novels, 3 traditional sized novels. But then my love for comics and graphic art just kind of pulled at me and pulled at me. And so what I've done is taken the 3 novels, and they're each one broken down into 4 books. So there's a total of 12 at the end of it. Okay.
Okay.
So
all right.
it's a little different. It's not quite
okay.
a trilogy, but the entire thing as one is a trilogy.
Okay.
Broken down into 4 separate books.
All right. So novel 1 would be books 1 through 4. Novel 2 would be 5 through 8. Novel 3, 9 through 12. Gotcha. Okay.
That's right. And what I tried to do here, I love sci-fi and I love fantasy.
Ooh.
Okay.
Nice.
The thing with sci-fi, if you're going to go strict sci-fi, you've got some rules you need to follow.
Indeed.
Because there is, like, as much as we have the ability within sci-fi to kind of mess around and do things that are out of the norm, it still usually is within the constructs of science.
That's correct. That is correct.
Fantasy, however, opens up a world of endless possibility.
Exactly. And Kenneth, I'm so glad you said that, because there are so many that do not know the difference between science fiction and science fantasy. And I had a conversation some time ago with a friend of mine. He was like, "Oh no, they're all the same." I said, "Oh no. I said, "Allow me to break it down as simply as I can. Star Trek is science fiction. It is still under the confines of math, science, physics, social studies, all those aspects of traditional understanding. It still have to follow those rules. You cannot go outside of it. Star Wars is science fantasy. It does not adhere to any of those rules at all. There is a huge difference." And Kenneth, you're once again, you're one of the very few that has ever been able to break it down. I'm just like, Kenneth, is he a genius? Is he a genius? Am I talking to a genius here?
So I've had this conversation with my wife.
Oh, true.
She likes fantasy.
Okay.
But she doesn't like science fiction.
Okay.
And so I've tried to bridge the gap with her and show her certain things that are science fantasy.
Yes.
Just so she can kind of see how the metamorphosis of it is to create one unit where you have that same level of science and that same level of fantasy that you can kind of create your own whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. An amalgamation, as it were.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that's some of my favorite stuff. And I like it all, but I tend to always get pulled back there.
So with the Furious Ones, well, first of all, I loved the title because I'm already in anything that deals with an emotional response. I'm already be like, ooh, who's angry? Why are they angry? Am I angry reading it? Like what's happening? So, well, you don't have to get into spoilers here, there, Kenneth, at all. But as far as like the overarching plot, what are our readers getting into?
So first of all, the overarching plot, we're not reinventing the wheel, because some of the greatest movies you will see that will be made later in the future and have been made are about the chosen one, the prodigal son.
That's correct.
It's retelling that same story in an original way. I mean, and you could go back in time all the way back to the 60s. There's movies and TV shows that were like that.
Plenty.
And it's not going to end.
Yep. Plenty.
So to start off with, let's get that out of the way. I am not reinventing the wheel. What I am doing, my family has always said that they think I'm a little crazy. So what I'm doing
I second that. I'm with you.
What I'm doing is taking a little bit of what I can get out of my head of the craziness and putting it into a story. So a lot of if you know our family, like you'll be able to pull aspects of my life from this story. I used to always tell my wife, this is going to sound really mean. It's a joke. She knows it's a joke. But I used to always tell her that they're all just figments of my imagination. You're literally all figments of my imagination, and whatever happens, it doesn't matter because it's not real.
I'm with that.
So we've always had that relationship, though. I've been with her since we were 14 years old. I can make a joke like that, and she gets it.
Oh, wow. That's forever. Okay, wow, yeah.
So going back to where we are with the story. Again, not retelling, not creating something new. We're telling the story of the chosen one again. What we have is at the beginning of the story is the main character at the end of his life. He's in his mid-40s. I don't want to call it the end of his life, but at the end of the storyline itself.
Okay.
So the book actually starts where the whole thing is going to end.
Okay. And so the whole story will be a flashback, more or less.
That's right.
Okay.
So once you get past that first chapter is written through the mind of a crazy person.
Ooh.
Literally somebody who's been taken, used, abused, washed up by a system, and is literally writing his final manifesto on his way out.
I know those
and then
feelings.
And everybody's been there,
Yeah.
regardless of where you live or how you grew up. Everybody's been through something in their life where they feel like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm checking out.
End of the rope.
That's right. And everybody deals with it differently. Some people, God forbid, actually do check out.
Yeah.
Some of us use it to make us stronger and move on to something else. So that's where it starts off. The main character, late 40s, mid 40s, pretty much writing his final manifesto.
Gotcha.
And then we're going to step back from there. Story starts off 1980s.
Okay. So this is, so I don't mean to cut you off there, Kenneth. But so pretty much more or less, is this story you would consider to be a self-insert?
I don't think so, because it's some of the spots that are so out there. I would say that as a kid, when you're like sitting around and you're watching Star Wars for the first time or whatever it is, and that childhood moment where you're able to let your imagination run wild.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Okay.
It's when you're sitting there and you're watching Star Wars for the first time as an 8-year-old or however old you are, and you're able to just kind of let your mind wander into almost your own universe.
Yeah.
And so this is where my mind wandered into this universe.
Okay. All right. I'm in. Please proceed, Kenneth. Lay it down.
We've got 10-year-old Drew. Okay. Drew is our main character. He grows up in a normal suburban family, about 15 miles outside of downtown Los Angeles. Being raised by his grandmother.
Okay.
Grandmother's a hard ass from Missouri.
Okay. Yeah.
Actual true facts. Like those parts are all literally pulled from my life.
Okay.
All
right. I couldn't help but notice.
So in the 80s, when the space shuttle takes off and blows up.
Oh, yes.
That's kind of where we're starting off at.
Okay.
We're getting into the story. Everybody's sitting around. They're watching the space shuttle take off. They watch it explode. And then from that moment on, weird stuff starts happening around the world. And because it's the 80s, we don't have Facebook. We don't have social media. So everything is rumor or what they're reading on the little Gazette magazine going through the grocery store checkout stand.
Yeah, nice.
A 16-year-old in Texas is able to bend metal with his mind and stuff like that. And they're hearing all these rumors. And as a 10-year-old kid, he's hanging out with his boys and trying to talk about it. And they're just kind of going through the process of how it wasn't. If you're not from the 80s, it might be a little hard to follow because you don't have that communication where it's just not the same.
Yeah, because we're cut from the same stitching there, Kenneth. And like, we grew up with newspapers and all other, technology that like your children have no idea about and stuff like that. But if you're from that era, you can definitely be like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember when having. I remember when the pager was first a thing, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Or you're reading about Bigfoot going through the checkout.
Yes. When everything.
And so that's kind of
hearsay.
And that's kind of where their kids are pulling all their information from. They're hearing about all these rumors about all this stuff that started happening in the years following the space shuttle explosion. So we go through that whole period. Drew gets kidnapped by a secret organization. Okay, the secret organization is known as the Trinity Loop. Okay, the Trinity Loop has been in charge of protecting Terra Inception, which is where it all began. There's a realm where creation is created. The Trinity Loop is the body that protects that and has protected it since the beginning of time. They kidnapped Drew because they think that Drew is the chosen. Drew has the ability, without getting too in depth, Drew has the ability to create life by himself. Okay. So the energy that's within the Terra Inception that creates life throughout the world, Drew has already in himself, and he can do it from nothing.
Got it. So for the sake of simplicity and not trying to get into spoilers, it'll be matter manipulation.
Yes.
For
the sake of simplicity, yes.
Yeah, just for simplicity's sake. Manipulation.
Because there is an explanation, but we're not going to
get but I don't want to get into I don't want to get into all the meat and potatoes, but for the sake of simplicity, matter manipulation, he has the ability to do that.
So he's taken in by this organization, and they basically are trying to teach him, form him, and show him the abilities that he has.
Gotcha.
Okay. Without getting too much of a spoiler, his grandmother has something to do with this entire thing.
Okay.
Okay. And the woman who is basically, for lack of a better term, I would call his handler within that organization, has something to do with the entire thing.
All right. Okay.
So from there, we're telling the origin story.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we're doing. We're giving you to where that 45-year-old man was sitting at the beginning, ready to end it. Back at 10 years old, how did he get there?
Okay. I'm intrigued, Kenneth. That's really dope. I'm a sucker for mystery. So, that alone is enough to wheel me, and I'm sure my viewers and listeners as well. I'm loving what you're feeding me here. I'm loving it, Ken. That's really.
The weird thing about writing, especially like somebody who wrote songs, you sit down, you write a song, you think it's good. It might suck. Who knows? You go play it for your kids, because I do it all the time. I record a song, I write a new song. I'll bring my daughters in and be like, you got to listen to this. Check this song out. My daughter will look at me like, well, what are you doing? But writing this book is kind of the same thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, but like the same thing like with music and books, and like the idea of taste still kind of comes in.
Yeah.
So so like let's just say that you play. Oh, what genre of music do you play, Kenneth?
Alternative hard rock.
Alternative hard rock. Okay, and let's just say your daughters were into punk for the sake of art.
They're all into hip hop.
Okay, so they're all into. Well, there we go. So what's music to your ears and will be music to my ears, to them it's
So I did. This is way off subject.
Sure.
I did attempt to make a rap song one time.
Oh my.
Just because I got sick of my youngest daughter not liking any of my music.
Oh my goodness.
And all she was listening to was rap. So I decided I'd lay down a beat and I made myself a rap song. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
I'd pay good money to hear that.
It was fun.
I'd pay good That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Kenneth, where can everybody get your book at? Where can everybody get their hands on it?
Right now, pre-orders available. www.thefuriousones.com. It will also probably the 15th of August be available on Amazon.
Oh, sweet.
So we're that close right now. We're waiting on some final illustration touch-ups.
Always.
And as you know, when you get into illustrations, I'm a writer. I'm not a drawer.
Neither am I.
My artistic ability does not go that far. So you're kind of at the mercy of other people at that point.
Yes.
But I was fortunate enough and I was blessed enough to not have to launch a Kickstarter or anything to do the project.
Nice.
So I was able to kind of do my own thing here. So the website, thefuriousones.com, sometime in the middle of August, amazon.com. We'll do a free weekend of the digital download for Amazon for that. We are, because of my huge comic book love, there are 2 variant covers from the original cover. Okay, so we did do 2 variant covers that are limited to $499 prints. I have sold already about 50 of each of those.
That's awesome.
So there's about 450 of those left to go out. But once those 499 copies are gone, those variant covers are gone.
Nice. Limited time only, ladies and gentlemen. Limited time.
I love variants.
Yeah, variants are really cool. Variants really cool. I'm actually about to start because I'm almost done with my entire story arc now, and I'm about to, once I finish the 8th issue, I'm gonna start doing the variants for each one. And I've already got 1,000 million billion ideas of how I wanna get them done. Too many ideas that even some don't even make any freaking sense, but it's fun. It's always fun to have those. It's really fun. But Kenneth, man, I really, really love your story. I really love your journey. And how you've infused your life into your work. It's amazing. I wish you all the great success, and I am so very thankful that you actually took the time to come and speak with me and talk to me about all this great stuff.
Man, I appreciate you having me on, just giving me a minute to be able to kind of put my craziness out there into the world. And if you are listening to this and you want to know if I'm actually this crazy, buy the book.
Yeah. Ooh, good segue. I love it. Well, everybody. That's Kenneth Spencer. He is the creator of The Furious Ones. Definitely check out his work. I'm going to leave all that in the description section below. Definitely buy the variants, all that great stuff. Amazing, amazing things. And you already know who I am. You know who I am. I'm Dre the Brute Daniels. Follow me on all my dope social media platforms at TheBrute00. Right down there. Right under my face. They're not there yet, but they will be. At TheBrute00 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and if I feel like being silly, on TikTok. This has been the Indie Corner. You all have been awesome, and I will catch you all next time. Also, if you want to support my channel, check out SpendWiz.com or download the SpendWiz app and check out my comic series, Trouble. It was written with a lot of love, and it was definitely my favorite comic series to write. I've also written it in English and in Spanish, so whatever floats your boat, I got it for you. Thanks again, and check it out.